This segment of CoastLife is sponsored by the Parker Group.
CoastLife, we know there have been some very big changes to the real estate industry, and that's all in effect now. It's all in play, and you might still have a little reservations. Maybe it's a little tricky and complicated to navigate this new real estate world. Well, you know what's coming. We've got Rachel and Dustin Parker with the Parker Group here, and you guys are just always so ahead of the curve when it comes to a change this big. I know this is something that you guys were excited about, something you've embraced, and you've done that with some technology to help folks sort of navigate these new rules. So what's new at the Parker Group?
Yeah, well, I think for a lot of people, one of the biggest changes they're going to notice from the settlement right away is when you're looking for a house online and you decide to pick that house and find an agent to show it to you.
Sure.
In the past, you could literally just click a button, the agent would show up and show you the house, and no problem, see the house, and then move on about your day.
Sure.
But now what is required from the settlement is that you have to sign what's called a buyer agency agreement before you can tour that house. And we thought for both the agent and the client, this is a new conversation for a lot of people. Some people were already doing this, but it wasn't required. And so most consumers are going to find this to be new and maybe a little bit uncomfortable.
Sure. I mean, I think that money conversation is often uncomfortable, and especially for a house that you haven't seen yet, and maybe a person that you haven't met yet necessarily. So what are some of this technology kind of helps navigate that conversation?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does, and it is new, I think, for a lot of consumers because you know, on that first phone conversation, maybe with the agent to go see a house, the agent's going to probably talk to them about having to sign some paperwork, and that might be a little bit intimidating and scary for them because they're not used to it, and they want to understand what this paperwork is, what it's committing them to. But unfortunately, regardless of which agent or brokerage they work with, they have to sign something before they do that. And so we've actually created a tool that we've given to all agents throughout the country that's compliant in all 50 states that allows the agent and the consumer to review this really easily on their phones, and then they can tap through a couple of different options and sign it directly right on their phone. So they can do this in person when they're at the showing, or if they want to do it asynchronously, they can email or text it to one another and review it that way as well.
Awesome. That's really cool. And I think that is going to really help kind of hold the hand of both agents, but especially buyers too, where I think it's going to be the most new and unfamiliar for your buyers. I think.
Exactly. And so we wanted to set up in a way where it wasn't a stack of paperwork that you're combing through and it's all written in legalese and you don't understand what it is.
Your eyes are spinning by the end of it.
Exactly. And you're like, I just wanted to see 123 Main Street. Like, why do I have to do this?
Down the road.
Yes, exactly.
It's yellow and cute.
Exactly. But like we said before, ultimately, we do really believe this is a good thing because up front, now that buyer knows, hey, if I love 123 Main Street and decide to buy it, these are what my fees will be. This is what the term of my relationship is with this agent. So I think it is really important, but we want to make sure that it's phrased in a way that is understandable, that's not intimidating, and that just makes it all feel smooth and natural.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that is one thing that you guys do so well and that you really have been the pioneers for in a lot of ways when it comes to the real estate industry, because I know there's been a lot of hesitation to embrace that kind of change, which you guys had not only no hesitation, but kind of charged in full force. And you're like, we have ideas and we're ready to show them to everybody. And I think that's really going to help. I think, like you guys have said before, it really is all about the clarity between agents and buyers.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really is, and you know what we've been telling our agents at the company is really it's, you know, there's new rules, but there's also new opportunities, and we view this as a way to really bring some transparency to the industry, to help the consumers and keep them more informed about the process and how real estate agents are paid, and we think that more transparency is always a good thing.
For sure.
Yeah, we really ascribe to, like Jeff Bezos always says, that the interests of the company are really aligned with the interests of the consumer. And as long as you keep that front of mind, there's really nothing to be intimidated about, because if we're doing what's best for our clients, then everybody wins at the end of the day. And this really, ultimately, we do feel is best for the client.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear, I think, and a lot of buyers and clients, that's going to put them right at ease when they hear that. So if you are, maybe you've been looking at joining the real estate industry, this is a great team to join, because they are going to hold your hands and you know, help you figure it out, and especially with all these new changes. Maybe something you learned a few years ago isn't necessarily what's right these days. So the Parker Group, thank you as always for coming in and sharing what's new and what's going on, and how you guys are helping people navigate that world.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we've got some more CoastLife to get to, so don't go anywhere.